What's up, board game people? This video is absolutely packed with some of the most exciting news from some of the biggest projects that I follow. There's probably at least another news video needed to get caught up, but this one has some real gems, so here we go. Before we begin, as always, I want to thank my Patreons. We're pulling up to the halfway mark on our first milestone, and I'm astounded by the support I've received. You all rock, and I have something special coming your way just as soon as I get my garage back. I also wanted to give a shout out to our newest member and welcome Dumas and the girls to the community. Thank you so much for your support. Now, let's take a look at what's live on crowdfunding. On Kickstarter, we have The Thinning Veil now sitting at over halfway funded and 1 week remaining in the campaign. They've sweetened the pot this time around with the Vision and Dancer expansion for free in every pledge level. Dungeon Saga Origins is pulling up to the finish line with just a few days remaining. Their daily reveals have been great, and they've unlocked the French and German language packs so far. Another dungeon project, Dungeons & Lasers 5, The World of Deuslair, has launched this week and is shot off with a bang. They've been ripping through both their regular and super stretch goals with no sign of slowing down. Finally, it didn't take arcane wisdom or a Ouija board to know that Zombicide White Death would break the $1 million mark, and it has. The add-ons have started to pile up and nothing can stop them now. Over on Gamefound, we have Thorgal that just launched and is already funded. This is a bit of a different take on a narrative adventure game from Portal Games. The Elder Scrolls Betrayal of the Second Era is going strong and has passed the $3 million mark, and they still have 9 days remaining. This project is a beast with a hefty price tag to match it. And last but certainly not least, Hexplore Fall of the Ancients is coming up on its last week, and it's unlocked reprints of all versions of the Hexplore tomes. So if you missed out on some of the initial stock, you can now back for the reprints with this campaign. Want to know what's coming up next week? You have 2 options right now. Check out my upcoming campaigns video for this month, linked in the video description, or catch the upcoming projects on the next news video releasing later this week. Now, as I promised, we'll start catching up with some of the Gamefound news from today, so let's start off with a good one. ISS Vanguard has posted a few updates since we last checked in. The pledge manager for the project will officially be closing on April the 25th. They posted an estimated timeline for Wave 2 English production and fulfillment that shows development of Wave 2 is complete and proofing and checking of the files for production of the game is ongoing. Mass production is set to start in July, with freight planned for September and delivery to backers beginning in October. Maybe I'll finally get this to the table before the second wave comes in. I'm still excited to start my journey among the stars. The current status for Language Wave 1 is also spoken to, stating that translations for all language versions are complete, and a few final playtests are underway, and then they'll start preparing the files for production. Language Wave 1 should hit production in May, freight in July, and delivery to backers in August. While we're talking about Gamefound, I know we'd be remiss not to mention the Awaken Realms Next presentation that streamed last month. Next was a showcase of everything headed our way from Awaken Realms over the next year and possibly beyond. We got a preview of a fun project with some beautiful dice headed our way titled the AR Vault Story Dice. It seems they plan to tackle some high-quality gaming accessories that you can add to your gaming chest for use with a slew of different games, and they'll be starting with the gamer's weapon of choice, the dice. They also announced the Stalker board game. They've teamed up with GSC World to bring the Stalker universe to our tabletops. For me, this hit my most anticipated list as soon as it was announced. Stalker has a dark, twisted tone that should fit perfectly with AR's writing and world development. It'll be truly interesting to see what they have in store for the game. They announced a new 1 to 2 player IP titled Dragon Eclipse that evokes Pokemon-esque capturing, taming, and battling of creatures to progress through a narrative campaign. The art shown for the game was spectacular, and it seems it'll be a breath of fresh air among the company's different offerings. Finally, they announced what may be the final chapter in the Nemesis series, Nemesis Retaliation. It's high past time we take the fight to them. In this game, you're going to control a squad of highly trained Marines infiltrating and attempting to destroy an alien nest. You'll face hordes of enemies and new nightmares aplenty. The pledge manager for Lawyer Up Season 2 is locking down on April the 24th. With the close of Fun Again Logistics, they've come upon additional stock of Lawyer Up, The Godfather Case, and The Witch Trial. These will be posted in their web store if you want a copy now. The estimated timeline for the project shows it moving to production in June, freight in August, and delivery in late August to October. Several updates have posted for the Tainted Grail Kings of Ruin campaign. First off, the Pledge Manager in late backing is open and will remain so for at least 2 to 3 months. They've added an awesome set of mounted hero sculpts to the Pledge Manager, and for me these look like a great addition to any all-in. They're being offered unpainted and also in Sundrop. They then posted some heart-wrenching pictures of the destroyed playtest copies and an update from their testers. Overall, nearly all groups found the new campaign a marked improvement over the Tainted Grail campaigns. There's a chapter that needs some spicing up, a lack of Guardian presence to be addressed, some skills that need to be made more powerful and exciting, a location to rework a bit, cleanup to the rulebook is needed, and more. It's reassuring to hear that they're addressing all of these issues, and it's great to see some solid results from the test groups. Finally, Tainted Grail Fall of Avalon has been released to Steam via Early Access. From the looks of the screenshots and the video, they've managed to capture the tone and theme of the game very well, and it looks interesting and hopefully will be an exciting romp in the Tainted Grail universe. Forteller released a puzzling little teaser on their Facebook page and on YouTube recently. Go have a look at it and tell me if you know what it's about. If you have a guess, let me know in the comments. I'll leave you a link in the video description below, and I'm serious, go check it out and see if you can tell what it's about. We have a new progress update from Harakiri Blades of Honor and a reminder of many of the important dates coming up. All discounts for the game end on May 15th. Payment for shipping and taxes will begin on June 6th, and the Pledge Manager will close for good on July 7th. Progress on the project is still rolling right along. Scenario creation and narrative development is complete for the core game. Expansions and one-offs are in progress and approaching the finish line. Translations are already in the process and making good progress as well. Art, miniatures, resin masters, and most molds are complete. Some new videos with Harakiri gameplay are also popping up, and the Gaming Rules channel has an adventure phase video you can check out if you're interested. We got another painting section with the latest update, and a look at the miniature wash samples that they've received. This update dives deep with a look at the doors and spawn points in Harakiri. They also share some of the process they utilize to make the game color blindness friendly. This is the last chance to complete your survey if you'd like your reward from the Aeons End Past and Future campaign. I know mine arrived in several packages over the last week, and it sounds like they're ready to put a lid on this campaign. So if you're lagging behind, it's now or never. What? The latest update from Middara Unintentional Malum announces that they're finally wrapping this behemoth of a project up. Writing, miniatures, and art are 99% complete, and they'll be releasing the first half of Chapter 6 on their Discord server in the next week or so. As of right now, Wave 1 and a few other items are already in production, and they'll be delivered before Wave 2. These items include Act 1 version 1.2, the Kickstarter promo pack 1, all 10 playmats, Act 1 dice, Artbook Volume 1, some card sleeves, the 1.2 update pack, the 1.2 rulebook, and the Lupercilia resin kits. They're hoping to start delivery of these in August. Wave 2 should start fulfillment in Q1 of 2024. Backerkit will be reopening for the last time on April 18th and closing on May 30th. Unconscious Mind is progressing on all fronts. They've received white box samples for the Dream World, and they've released Dream World onto the tabletop simulator for all of our enjoyment. They give us a sneak peek of some of the updated meeples, which are looking quite sharp, and we saw some of their resin cousins as well. Over 1,000 dev hours have been clocked by Johnny Pack for Unconscious Mind, and his notes are locked in, and development changes will be reported on soon. The Pledge Manager for the game should stay open through May. There is still some time while they go about testing and retesting the game. The miniatures campaign for Gloomhaven and Frosthaven has been moved from April until June of this year so they can finish fulfillment for Frosthaven. In the US, they're done shipping. Pre-orders will start shipping soon. Canadian shipping is complete. UK fulfillment is wrapped. In Europe and the rest of the world, fulfillment is still on target for finishing on April 15th. In the Oceanic region, the last of the inserts are due in shortly, and that should allow them to wrap up shipping there. VFI Asia has reported that most of the hub shipments have shipped. Hide your wallets, lock up the credit cards. Aeon Trespass Odyssey is headed back to Kickstarter on May 16th with the second printing, some new add-ons, and some new gameplay content. The landing page for the campaign is up now on Kickstarter, and they'll be sharing the preview page soon. We also have gotten a little bit more light shed on the 12 Sins of Herakles. Herakles is the next chapter of Aeon's Trespass Odyssey. New campaigns, new regions to explore, and a new way to play. New heroes, new villains, a new approach to Voyage, new adventures with new character progression systems, new titans and primordials, new gear, fully compatible with ATO, a new epic saga of love and revenge. 1 game, 4 seasons, 12 sins. We will be exploring a truly open world where each diverse region is connected and traversable. There will be a dozen regions to explore in total. New traversal types will be introduced and so much more. This time you aren't limited by a timeline or a countdown clock. Take your time, explore. Your death can wait a little bit. Each region will have an exploration deck packed with new modes of transportation, new challenges, new terrain types, new events, and more. You won't have the relative safety of the Argo for this voyage, not even a city to call home. You must survive in the wilds. There will be more content, more side quests, more titans. It's going to be one hell of a ride. The Island Adventure print and play portion of the Robomon campaign is finally here. All files have been emailed to backers and you can hop in and play now. The adventure bulged from its 40-ish estimated pages all the way to 89 pages long for the final version. Work on the core game is progressing and they've added a space shuttle, because they could. I for one approve. The big red button was pressed and Sleeping Gods Distant Skies is a go for mass production. They've received the final production proofs from Panda Games, and after a few adjustments, they've approved everything for manufacture. While they did eat up the extra time built into the schedule during development, it was there for a reason, and barring other delays, they're still hoping to begin fulfillment in August. The narration for the original Sleeping Gods has been released on Forteller. Backers who had it included in their pledge level should have already gotten an email with a redemption code. The production proof for Primeval Peril has also arrived, and they now await mass production copies for everything for final approval. The latest on Tamashii Chronicle of a Sin is that the first batch of files has been sent to the factory, and mass production should be ramping up now. The whole process takes several months, and they're hoping that shipping to backers will start around August and September. Late pledge is still open, so there's a chance to back if you wish. Shipping updates for the Great Wall show the EU hub sitting at 76% shipped, the US hub with only 20 packages outstanding, the Canadian hub with everything shipped out, the Australian hub with the majority of packages already shipped and packages headed to Thailand and Indonesia are awaiting carrier pickup. Upgrade packs are in the process of being shipped and may take another 2 to 3 weeks to complete. Pledges are locked for the Earth Under Siege Flashpoint campaign. Mold making is in progress, and the resin masters are on display in this update. Printed components except for the campaign book are 99% complete and undergoing proofing and testing. Layout and file formatting looks ready for production when the time comes. The 2 campaign books are still being written and playtested ad nauseum. They currently sit around 70% complete. The goal is to finish them around the time that the miniatures are done with production so they can move straight into printing. This update spotlight is on Victoria Usman, the combat medic. Her bag of tricks should easily be able to keep a squad on their feet. Company of Heroes is getting ever closer to opening a pledge manager. They're still planning on having some unlockable stretch goals during the pledge manager, so the pot can only get sweeter. They're currently waiting on some samples from their China partner as well. They've added a new terrain pack to the mix. Terrain Pack 4 will feature a giant bunker with removable roofs at a cost of $37, with all profit going to a charity in Chris's remembrance. In Dungeons of Doria news, white box samples of the newly enlarged game box are in, and we got a nice snap of it with the old box lid on top. It looks like a few more centimeters of storage have been eked out with this update. We also got a look at the plastic inserts for the game, which look to keep things well organized and secure. Sadly, the inserts for sleeved cards were just too big, so this insert will not accommodate sleeved cards. Storing the game vertically with this setup also isn't going to be recommended. More updates to come from ShipQuest, the Pledge Manager, and the final production proof. Progress has remained steady throughout the month for Heroes of Might and Magic 3. The Pledge Manager will be launching in April at a yet unannounced date. In general, the core box for the game is complete. The final rules have been completed and sent off for translation. Scenario books have been in hands for weeks now, and they're hoping players are getting inspired. They'll officially be supporting player-made scenarios and releasing a map editor of sorts in the future. The Tournament book is a new addition that'll give more information on how to create your own scenarios with new options to modify your deck. They also mentioned planning for a more extensive campaign. Some of the recent changes development has brought about are difficulty adjustments to the Ramparts of the Fortress campaign, a rework of how morale functions, rebalancing of units to better fit the general balance, an increase in the amount of keywords, and they've rewritten some of the artifact abilities to better differentiate between them. And players can now sell cards at the trading post. Finally, the latest news from Uprising Titans of the First Stage campaign is looking good. The game is in production and everything is going well. They've improved their QC process, so boxes should be more accurately assembled and faster. The timeline shows plastic production at about 55%, with paper production sitting about 27%. Assembly of the game should be started by the end of April. Let's hope things keep going well for them. And we're done. That's another batch of news out the door, and I'm starting to see a light at the end of the tunnel. You should be on the lookout for another news video on the horizon, as well as an update on a project of mine that's long overdue. Please consider subscribing, leaving us a like, or striking up a conversation in the comments. It'll help our little channel grow, and we love to build our community. I'd love to hear about any juicy news you might know of. Thanks to everyone watching, commenting, and supporting the channel through Patreon. Have a great rest of your week, take some time for yourself, and a good board game when you get a chance.